Hey guys, JP here. It's been a while since I've done a video, so I figured I better do one and ringing in the new year. Because I've been learning and trying to grow my business and trying to get things rolling in the new year so that I can push towards my goals. And so I've really set really high goals this year. So I'm really excited about that. And so I want all of you to be a part of it. And so if there's any of you out there that are looking for buyer to buy a property or to sell a property, give me a call. But I do have a few things I want to touch on that I've had rolling around in my mind for the last, I don't know, several months, and just thought it would be valuable for those of you out there that are thinking about doing something different with your homes. Or your situation in the coming year. And so one of the things I wanted to touch on was buying a house. A lot of people just jump out there, try to find the house first, and then go call an agent to have them show them that house. And I would encourage you to find an agent first, then go find a house. Why? Because an agent is super valuable, not only just to open the door, let you in the property, but that agent should have coached you in the expectations of what happens when you actually pull the trigger and make an offer on a property. So it's a super important, and plus you might have an agent that shows you a property and you just don't have good chemistry with them. Because remember, you are married to these people for, could be 30 to 45 days. So that's a really long time, especially, traveling in, out of the property. And, showing up for inspections, communication. One of the things that happens so often in this business is the communication breakdown. So I always try to ask my folks, what is the best way for me to communicate to you in the process? Because, and then what is the expectation for the return response? Because that is, I would say, hands down, even more important than writing the offer is the availability of your agent. And then also, I'm a very super proactive agent, so I like to try to get a hold of my clients all the time. And so knowing what each other's communication style is, and then also knowing, how quickly, as a buyer, that the response is going to be there. Because what happens oftentimes in this business is that there's things that we need either to communicate to you in during the process of the transaction. We need to communicate to you, what's going on with the lender, what's going on with the appraisal, what's going on with inspections, when are those repairs going to get completed, is the roof good, did you get me a roof certificate? Because you're going to need a roof certificate to have a good roof in order to get insurance. And I in my business have tools that will keep you involved in the timeline and in the process and in the communication, so that there's no breakdown. And also from a time sensitive standpoint, because I know that some people's expectations of a text message is, at some point I'll respond, between now and, when we close. And some other people's expectations are, if I send you a text message, can you please respond back within an hour? Because, sometimes in this business, the whole world can get turned upside down in a day. So whether that be, the seller can't sell, the buyer can't buy, and those are the kinds of things that we need to be able to communicate across both sides of the table in order to get it done. So that's super important. And then also I wanted to touch on buyers. There's basically two types of buyers. There's buyers with money, and there's buyers that have good credit, and then there's buyers that have money and don't have credit. And so, one of my passions is trying to help buyers that don't have good credit to buy houses. I know my brokers don't like that, but I think that it's a huge need out there. And I know that there's people that have credit that's never going to come back from the dead because, and the biggest one is typically medical bills that are just so far gone that it's going to be impossible to come back. But I know that there's sellers out there that are willing to work with buyers that do have money that want to buy, but just know that their credit's never coming back from the dead. So my advice for those buyers out there that do have money, that have bad credit, is to save. And typically, some of the deals I've ran across, a buyer that doesn't have good credit is going to need anywhere between probably $20,000 to $30,000 down. Typically the rule for me is 5% of the purchase price is what you're going to need down. And I've got connections with people that can work with buyers that don't have good credit. So reach out. The other thing I wanted to touch on real quick is selling your home. Especially in the winter months, if you have a property that is in a hot price range, and in the winter months, and it's the slowest time of the year, and you get multiple offers on the first day that it's on the market, that tells me that there was some market research that was not done correctly. But hey, who am I to judge? There's and also I would say in terms of putting your house on the market, just because the agent sold you the home doesn't necessarily mean that they're a good fit for you to sell your property. The reason why I say that is because the buying side of the transaction is a completely different animal than the selling side of the transaction. If you've got a person that doesn't have good marketing on your property, then you're going to have struggles trying to get your property moved. So I would re-interview the person that sold you the house and ask them what tools are they going to have in order to sell your property quickly and for the most money, because that is the goal with any sale, is to sell your property as fast as possible for the most amount of money. Because I know that when people want to sell, they have a timeline that they need to be on for the most part. And then for those high-end sellers out there, what are you going to do for me as a seller that's going to make my property shine above the competition? Because what you don't want is, you just don't want an agent that's just going to throw a sign out front and then be like, hey, man, it's on the MLS and there's a sign out front. So, by virtue of osmosis, your house is going to sell. I don't do that. I do things that, make some agents cringe, because they're like, well, that's out of my comfort zone. I've sold houses in the past and they sold this way, so, why should I do anything different? Well, I can tell you this, the landscape of real estate is going to change, and you have to be willing to change with it. Just like me doing this video right now, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of agents that don't do videos. I do these kinds of videos just for your listings. Like I said, interview, because again, you're going to be married to these people for 30 to 45 days. So you want to make it as the most pleasant process as possible. And so with that, I'm JP Fluellen, Coldwell Banker Property Exchange. Call me 307-772-1184, or you can email me james.fluellen@gmail.com. And if you don't know how to spell Fluellen, you can look it up on Google. It's not a big deal because I'm everywhere. So peace out. 2017, let's do it. Everybody, call me. We'll work it out. We'll get your house sold. Highest, best, out.